So, what was your takeaway from that road trip? Could look at it and say, oh, you were so close to beating two really good teams on the road, or you felt you maybe lost two games that you could have won or should
Yeah,
have won.
I think combination. Really tough weekend because I felt that we had two really good chances to beat some incredible teams. The first game at Stanford, I felt we controlled the game for 36 minutes, but I think that's the difference of playing, just a unranked team and a team with a ton of experience, a ton of grit and fight. With one of the best coaches in the country. They don't die, and they made some huge plays. And every time we made a mistake down the stretch, they capitalized, and that's what the number 7 team does in the country. So I think that for us, we're learning a lot. We're growing. We have to learn. You can't take risks at certain times in the games, and I think so. That's a big opportunity for us to learn on there because it was a great opportunity to win a game. And then the Cal game, leading by a lot with a good cushion. We knew they weren't going to die at senior day for them. It was senior day for them, and that was a tough one. I thought, they really got momentum. Their seniors stepped up big, and then we were on our heels for just the last couple minutes of the game. And the crazy thing is, I felt we did such an amazing job. I don't think anybody's held them to 17 points and a half. I thought our defense was tremendous. I thought our game plan was great, but they just literally, their seniors stepped up, and Caldwell was amazing. She really has personality. She's not afraid, and she kind of took the team on her back for a lot of the game. And Anigua is just someone that she's so good that she draws a lot of attention. So you've got to put bodies in there. You can't guard her one-on-one, or we don't have the personnel to guard her one-on-one. So I thought their team did a really good job of making huge shots down the stretch. So first half they missed them, second half they made them, and that's kind of how it goes. But hopefully these two games we learn from and get better.
What is it like to no longer have the record for most points in a season?
I don't. Honestly, I look at it like 2 decades is too long to keep that record. I think it's just been a long time. I think it's great, and she's killing the record. I'm happy for Ari. She's going to do so many more amazing things here at Arizona, and I'm just glad that it was her that broke it. Couldn't think of a better person. I think she's going to break a lot more of my records too, but probably not the foul record, which I'm very proud of.
Do you feel like the first game against Stanford kind of bled into that Cal game where they started coming back and you felt they kind of saw maybe like how Stanford came back in those last 5 minutes?
No, I felt like they felt really different. I felt honestly I didn't know how we were going to respond at the beginning of the Cal game because that was such a tough loss, the Stanford loss. So I was kind of surprised that we came out so intense and on fire and just played really good defense and offense. We had a counter for everything first half. I didn't know how we'd come out, and Cal's really good at home. Now the comeback it did have me worried because we don't have the experience, and we haven't won a lot of games like that against really good opponents. So we don't have that experience. I mean, Anigua, they've been to the Final Four. Asia Thomas, Caldwell, they have a lot of experience. So I knew that could play a factor down the stretch because I think when you're more experienced and Anigua is one of the top players in the country, you know not to discipline, or you know not to reach on things, or you know when your team needs a bucket, and when you're a dominant player, you go and get that bucket. So I was worried about that. Very difficult situation for us when Dominique fouls out because we have very difficult matchups inside with experience. So, I knew that the comeback was happening, but I didn't expect it because we still, going into the fourth quarter, we had a 12-point lead. So, but looking back, and today I watched the end of the fourth quarter and overtime with Ari, and then we had a lot of opportunities. So, given all the opportunities we had to win, and we didn't come out to win, I think we controlled that. I mean, if you don't make free throws and you have turnovers and you take rush shots, you're not going to win those big games against the top teams in the country in this league. But it's learning, so I hope that makes us better. So hopefully it can either crush you or you can have resiliency and it can make you better. And I think for us now, we're working on specific things and it has to make us better. But the positive side that I can take from that is now Ari knows what that feels like. She knows what it feels like to be at Stanford against the number 7 team in the country and what that feels like going in with 2 minutes left. And she knows at Cal with dominant players with experience on their floor what that feels like when they're making a run. So then we can understand as a team and her as a point guard, okay, this is how I control that game a little more. This is how I use my teammates. This is how I don't take a risk and turn that ball over This is how I make my free throws. Those, I think those learning things, it's valuable. So if we're in that situation again, we have an advantage.
I imagine because you're how competitive you were up there, you have to be feeling pretty good going into this week. Obviously, it's two teams that are ridiculously good.
Yeah, well, we should feel competitive. I think that showed us that we can play with anybody in the country and we can defend anybody in the country, at certain times when we're playing discipline. But, it's also tough. I mean, to finish Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, that's a pretty darn tough 4 games. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I always say to our team, there's no pressure on us because Oregon's supposed to come in here and beat us. Oregon State is supposed to come in here and beat us, so they have more pressure than we do. We're just playing. And, if we win, we win. If we don't, no one thinks we should win anyways. So I think that should make us feel good. I think we're playing some pretty good basketball right now. And I told our players a month ago, the stuff we're working on now will pay off. And it's paid off. We've gotten better in last month. If you remember the game at home against Stanford, they demolished us for 30 points and controlled the entire game. And, Oregon, the first quarter, they punched us in the face. And then the next 3 quarters, I think it was pretty good. So we can play with anybody, and I think we're feeling good and confident right now.
What can you say about Destiny? She's the only senior. This is her last homestand. I mean, besides maybe postseason, but what can you just say about the role she's had with the program?
Yeah, so Destiny, Lindsay, and TT. So Lindsay, our walk-on, she's a senior, and she'll be some famous surgeon in like 10 years. I know that, and I'm telling you that right now because it's going to happen. And then Destiny and Lucia they're the only players that are here from when I first got here. So that's pretty amazing. Lucia was my first recruit. Destiny was someone I recruited to stay here. She could have left. Destiny is going to be a really hard player to replace. She's a great kid. She's one of our smartest players. I think this year has been tough for her because, she started last year. This year she's playing multiple positions, different roles, and I think it's been a challenge. But I think she's still really important to this team. We really need her, and we really need her to step up these next few games and going into postseason. If she doesn't play well, we probably don't win. So she plays a big factor in what we do, and it's not all about scoring. She's someone who is a leader. She's someone that coaches the freshmen and tells people where to go. She knows all of our plays inside and out better than anybody. And she helps a lot in so many other ways. So I think just overall her and what she does is going to be really missed.
She's going to be in that So You Want to Be a Coach program.
Yeah.
Is that what you see her doing in the future?
Yeah, so definitely we helped her get into that. We encouraged her to apply, and I wrote a letter and made some phone calls, and she did a great job of being accepted because that's extremely competitive. So I was really proud for her for that because I think she can have a good career in coaching. So she'll go to that, and I'm sure she'll have opportunity. And I encourage her to go somewhere else and try to be a GA first because she has a different experience than just at Arizona. I always think it's better for a player to not stay where they're at. And the reason why is because you've played with those players and you have friendships. And so sometimes that's hard for a young former student athlete to have that line. So I always think it's better to go somewhere else where it's like a new start. You learn a different system. You have different adversity, and you're learning different things from different people. So I think she'll find an opportunity. She's smart. She works hard. So I'm just happy for her.
How do you feel like your team has responded in practice this week after?
Really good. We tried to make it fun yesterday, and we did some stuff after practice, keep it light, because at this point in the season, you can't have 3-hour practices. So they're really short, intense. We're working on specific things, specific game situations that can help us, a lot of free throws, because that's been something that we've struggled with. And now it's a mental thing. Just a lot of sharpening some offensive stuff. And just kind of this point in the season, they're not going to get in better shape. It's just saving our bodies and working on specific things.
When you say you did fun things, what exactly does that
Well,
mean?
we did a scavenger hunt after practice. And when I told them no weights, when you say no weights, it's like they won the lottery. No weights are like, no weights, they go crazy. So that was the highlight, the no weights. And it's not even hard lifting right now, it's easy, but they're like, no weights. And then we fed them, so I think it was a tough weekend. And so you can either, be down or you can use it as motivation to get better. I think we're in a good place. We're feeling good, we're confident. But it's my job to help keep that morale up. Even for me personally, I mean, it was hard. I think mentally for me because, as a coach, you're like, oh, what could I have done differently, better to help? And I think that you kind of beat yourself up. Especially when you're up by 20. But, it is what it is. You got to move on, and I have to be strong and be the leader and find ways to figure things out to get us better.
With the rest, is that something that you kind of see, or do you have a team that kind of relays that back to you of like, hey, we need to do shorter practices, or is it just kind of a feel?
No, I see it and I just know, just as a player, a longtime pro, and just someone that's been around the game for a long time. They're playing a lot of minutes. I mean, Erie played 45 minutes against Cal. So I think that, you get banged up, especially at this point in the season. So having 30 minutes longer in practice is not conducive to success. So it's better to have a few minutes of shooting or save your legs. And at this point in the season, it's less isn't more and better. I think it's better. It's not quantity, it's quality, or else you just kill your kids. You'll wear your kids out.
In terms of 2019 recruiting, how many players how many do you want in that class when all is said and done?
Well, so we have 5. So 4 signed, and we just recently got a commitment today. So really happy about that. I've been waiting for this one for a while. I'm so really, really happy about the class, and could potentially get one more. So to answer 5 or 6, and it's some pieces that we really needed and wanted. And so for me, in the future, I don't want classes of 6 or 7. It's really hard. You have to start over. You have to teach so much. So ideally later, as we continue to grow as a program, which we are, it'll be a smaller class. So if it's 6 this year, next year it's 2. Then it's 2 or 3. So then I can even out the classes. But we just weren't at the point in the program where I was ready to start evening out the classes. It's like I need to get players. We need to start winning. And I'm also I'm proud at like the momentum we have, because we've done a lot, and this is our 3rd year. And we're continuing to get better. Now better players are coming, and pieces, not better players, pieces that fit. Because I think when you first get a job, you're just trying to put stuff together. Then you get some great kids, and I have a great base, great young kids that are going to be really good players. Bryce is going to be a very good player. She works her butt off, and it's going to pay off. She's a great kid off the court, so she's great for the culture. Kate is a fierce competitor who's talented, but that's a freshman. And she's a freshman starting in one of the best leagues in the country. She's going to only get better. Next year, she's going to look completely different. Samaje is, if you look at her 2 months ago from now, she's improved tremendously. She's going to improve even more next year. And she has some experience and confidence. And, she's working. She's never really just every day worked on it. In high school, you play a couple months, but you're not working on your game every day. So then we add some more pieces that we don't have. It gives us depth in different position. And then these upperclassmen now, they teach the freshmen. And so that's that culture thing I talk about, that I feel like it's the first year that we have. And it's positive and it's good. Our team actually likes each other and likes to be around each other. Some teams don't. So that culture is everything to me. That's the most important thing. It is not where it needs to be. Because I believe that when you have a really strong culture, which takes like 6 years, the players are policing each other. I think you have a good culture when the coaches police them, but when the players say, that's not what we do here, that's when you have a great culture. And the championship teams I've been on, that's how it is. You're not stepping up, you're not playing hard, your teammates can tell you. The coach may tell you later, but your teammates can tell you first and address it. And I think that's what the UConns have. That's what the top teams in the Pac-12 have. I'm sure Tara has that at Stanford. It is a level of expectation, and you won't survive in that environment unless you have it a certain way. So it kind of weeds people out.
In that 5 and 6 total, that's including Tara, right?
What do you mean? Oh yes, Tara. Sorry, yes. And Tara's just here, but she won't play till next year. Yes, Tara is one of those. Which Tara, it's a good situation for us because she gets to work out here for an extra half a year and learn the system, and I think it's a good opportunity for her.
How much has she already progressed?
A lot. I think the challenge is that she's kind of thrown into the fire. So she hasn't been here for all the preseason stuff, and she hasn't been here for like all the individuals where our base, we learned the base. So she's kind of got in like, oh, this is what we do. It's like, huh, what do you do? And it's different because, she's a 17-year-old kid that would normally be in high school. So she's learning. I think it'll help her having an off season and to learn our basic principles, and then she'll be better. But I think it's going to help her immensely getting stronger because it's like a half of a redshirt year.
And prepping for these 2 juggernauts this weekend, how do you kind of actively go from, all right, just leave this weekend, but kind of learning from it, to prepping your team for probably their biggest weekend of
I
the
mean, you
year?
have to move on fast. I think as a player, like I knew that you just because I can't control the past. I'm not someone that, and as a leader, and you have to be strong. You have to be the one that pushes forward because you have to lead. And I think that if I sit here and I'm hanging my head like that's, I don't want my players to do that. And I think you have to have resiliency. You're not going to win every game, but you have to learn. So the mistakes we made in those games, it's my job to make it so we don't make those same mistakes. And I even look at myself and you critique and I critique what I've done and what I did what I could have done better. And so you learn, and you won't win otherwise. And you can't survive in this league like that and be successful. So you got to move on fast. Just like I think the analogy is as a player, the greatest players I played with, they had amnesia. If you played with Lauren Jackson, she was the best post player at the time in the world. She could be 0 for 10 starting the game. She thought that 11, 12, 13 shot was going in. She could have been 0 for 20, but the confidence because of her work, she believed that next shot was in. So I always remember playing with great Katie Smith, playing with great players like that, Sue Bird. You watch that, and that's the mentality. So I think as a coach, a lot of things I did as a player. You got to be tough. You got to just step up to the plate when things happen. You got to find ways to get better. And I think that's what I did my whole life. So it's not that different for me. I always was finding a way to get better, improving it, because I wasn't a great player. I wasn't the best athlete. So I had to be creative. So I just kind of take the same approach as a coach. And I have to lead we're young. And, everybody's coming back next year. So I have to show them what's possible. And I open their eyes to how good and improve them. And I'm a firm believer that you improve throughout the year. It's not just maintaining. We are working on our skill stuff. We're working on certain things because I think throughout the whole year you can improve. And it's my job to do. And I know that things don't always pay off now, but they pay off in a month. And I think we're seeing that in some of our play.
Did you expect your team to be as competitive they were this weekend with the games you had, again, like you said, against Stanford and kind of on a real basis?
Well, I did think we were going to be competitive. Did I think we were going to be leading the game and lose on a last-second shot? No, I didn't know because I didn't know how we were going to respond. But I knew we were feeling confident after the sweep of that previous weekend. So I knew that we were feeling confident. But we're young, so I don't know exactly how we're going to respond then at Stanford the next week. But I was proud because tough loss. That was a dagger on Friday. And then, because Saturday morning I felt awful too. So I know that they were just like, deflated. But then to come back and play so well, I was proud. And it showed me that we're tough and we're resilient and that we have a chance to do some special things because we could have just caved it and said, oh, we're not supposed to win. But they didn't. They fought. And I mean, some kids played 40, 45. We have a short bench right now. So to see them do that, I was proud. And it told me that we can do a lot of special things and we can upset some more people. And I know that they think that. I know that they truly believe. It's not they just say it. They truly believe that we can do some special things, and I know we can.
Anything else?
No? Okay, cool. Thanks, you guys. You're welcome.
So,
yeah, you go.
Destiny, your last homestand, what do you think that's going to be like?
I was kind of thinking about this when we were playing at Cal Senior Night. I didn't think I was going to be as emotional, but I think as the time is getting closer, I think it'll be really emotional.
What has this year been like for you? I mean, Coach Adio was kind of saying how maybe it's been tough for you because you've had a lesser role than you've had in the past.
It definitely has been hard, but it's not as challenging because it's fun playing with these players. I don't think that my teammates feel like my role is any less, even though maybe it has been. And I think they still, listen to me and they kind of think of me as a leader on the side.
What is the biggest difference in the program when you first got here compared to now?
Oh, man. I think definitely under Coach Barnes is more offensive, and under Coach Butts it was more defensive, and I think that's because of where she came from. The players are completely different. I mean, they're both really great coaches, but I just think that the atmosphere has definitely changed.
So you're going to go into So You Want to Be a Coach program.
Yeah.
Is that you want to be a coach?
Yeah, I think that I kind of have a knack for those kind of things. I think that I can talk to different people in different ways, and I think that's kind of a big component in what being a coach is.
What do you think about Destiny possibly being a coach? How do you think she would fit in that?
I think amazing. I think that she's been able to help, especially the younger players, out a lot. Being able to talk to them, like she said, the way that they're used to being talked to her, the way that they can adapt. And I think that she'd be a great coach. She knows basketball very well, and she's very coachable, and that can obviously help being a great coach.
Thank you.
Coach Barnes mentioned that you guys had a little lighter practice this week and mentioned a scavenger hunt. How did that go?
I mean, I think it was really fun. It was fun being able to going around to different parts of the, I guess, around McHale, and even we went to the Gym Cats area where they practice. So, I mean, it was fun, and then going and seeing the locker room and celebrating what we've been able to accomplish this season. It was an amazing time, and I had fun with my teammates.
What were some of the scavenger hunt like tasks?
I think one, we had to go to Gym Cats practice area and stand on bouncing, whatever, do whatever there. Go to the weight room, pose, do sand angels in the little sand pit, do a trick shot on the court, how many consecutive free throws amongst your team you can do, and take a picture with the coach, I think, or head coach somewhere. Yeah.
I feel like Coach Barnes can really like sense your guys' emotions as a team and can read that well in what she prepares you for like practice.
I definitely think so. I know for me personally, like sometimes like I'll have bad days, and I think she'll like sense that, and she'll try to like make me laugh or like engage with me and things like that. And at the time I didn't notice it, but she kind of pulled me to the side and she told me that's what she was doing, and I like appreciate that. I think she does that with everybody pretty much.
What was your takeaway from the Bay Area road trip, either for either one of you?
It was really tough, but I was really proud of our resilience and just how we battled the whole game. I think that was probably the first time, like the whole year, that we've all played at least 40 minutes of basketball. We've had our spurts of 20 minutes or maybe 15, but I think that was the time when we played a full game of basketball and everyone contributed. I was just proud of our fight.
So does that give you confidence going into this weekend against two more top 10 teams?
Most definitely. I think we've came a long way, and I think just playing against a top team like Stanford has shown what we can do and how we can play.
Is there anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.